your love of triumphs, my love of triumphs. Where are we going to go? Where are we going to go? And I'm definitely talking south of the Isle of Wight. I've got this desire to take my triumph to Morocco. Where do you want to
go? No, it's got to be the twisties of Switzerland every single time.
You're going to go east. So you got no desire to go North Africa. It's all about Europe, is it?
No, I don't want dust on my bike. I want to do twisty roads. I want to take some of that rubber off the side of the tire. I just love Germanic food, and being up high, up in the Alps is beautiful.
Fantastic. Matthew, say hello to the world.
Hello. Welcome from Gorillas.
Excellent. Everyone, we are live with the fantastic Matthew Nobbs of Gorillas. Who are Gorillas? If you're not aware, they are the $3 billion gorilla in the room. And we're going live with Matthew Nobbs, commercial director for the UK for Gorillas. So especially for those that are listening on the podcast, as we go live onto Facebook, live onto LinkedIn, and live onto YouTube. Let's just give a bit of detail about this amazing disruptor being Gorillas. They're one of the fastest growing startups in Europe, and they're a potential change of broader shifts in the bike delivery sector and the gig economy that we're going to see ongoing. Founded in May 2020 and built on a promise to deliver groceries within 10 minutes to the consumers, Gorillas has already achieved the vaunted startup unicorn status by reaching a $1 billion valuation after just 9 months, the fastest ever German company to do so. It was launched in Berlin. Gorillas now operates in nearly 60 cities in 9 countries in Europe and North America, and is currently valued at $3 billion US. Since launching, part of Gorillas' marketing efforts has been focusing on establishing better working conditions than rival delivery platforms. Matthew, as we said, is commercial director for Gorillas. And Matthew, you and I go back so many years. As intimated in our green room, we have a number of graduates dialed in to these broadcasts, and they're always fascinated as to the background, as to the career background of people. So if it's okay to ask, just to start off on that basis, what is your background, and how did you end up with the amazing business that is Gorillas in the fulfillment center today?
So let's take a bit of a step back in time. So I'm originally from Norfolk, from kind of like that farming area. Always loved produce, food, seeing how it's grown, but then actually to see it, in store has always been a passion. So after uni, I joined Lidl and got a really great, grounding in commercial. So going through, learning how to be a buyer, an old school buying training, and then moving into supply chain and getting into other commercial roles like trade planning, advertising, marketing. And then you really just see kind of like the volumes that go through businesses. It's really incredible. But what I would say is it's been a fantastic journey. You learn a lot along the way, how food is produced, how it gets sold, margins, all of those kind of things. But it was that classic training. And there's so many operators out there that give fantastic trainings. It's Tesco, Sainsbury's, the German discounters, Waitrose. That's from a retail perspective. But then you've got all of the FMCG suppliers as well. And then from farming producers as well. So it's a great sector to be in. One thing that it's my granddad always said to me: people always need food and need to eat. So whichever part of the sector you're in, it's a good place to be, I think.
So we're basically created a bit of an advertorial for grads to come into the food sector. One thing that we picked up, Matthew, over the last 18 months is that there's a real explosion of interest in especially fresh food from graduates who wouldn't normally come into the sector. I call it the Goldman Sachs effect. Why would you want to work for, no offense to them, but Goldman Sachs and spend 100 odd hours a week wired into a computer when actually you could do some good? I could do some significant good by being in the fresh food sector, and also there's so many opportunities, and we'll obviously come into it in more detail. You just have to look at the likes of Gorillas, or look at your background with the likes of the discounters, because if it's okay to say, it basically made you, didn't it? Gave you such a good foundation being with Lidl to propel you as to where you are now.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's a generational thing as well. So when we were growing up, it was also always about being a solicitor, a lawyer, or stuff like that. If you find a job that you're passionate about, then you generally, if you're passionate about something, you'll generally enjoy it, and normally off the back of that, you'll be successful. And awareness of food, of health, and all of those things are, they're a lot bigger these days. People care about it more, about the planet. Sustainability and planet is not something that we spoke about in the 80s, 90s, and the noughties versus now. And people want to be about passionate and have a love for the company that they work for. Do you know what I mean? So if you can pull all those things together and you build a career around it, you'll stick in that sector for a long time.
Totally. Well I said, a right on message with COP26 about to happen down the line. So coming on to where you are today in the Gorillas Fulfillment Centre, could you have guessed 10 years ago that there would have been businesses like Gorillas coming about?
Well, no, not really. And if you spoke to me 7 years ago and said that you could get yourself a chicken katsu curry delivered in, I don't know, 20 minutes by delivery or whoever, you just think, well, what's that all about? So people are always skeptical of early adopters, new businesses that you'll have a sector of the populace that are early adopters who kind of, they've got that willingness to try new things. I would have never have thought it. Like food delivered in 10 minutes. It's that sounds crazy, but then you start to think about the why. Why do I need it in my life? Yep. And that's when it really gets interesting. So, why do you need your food in 10 minutes? Why do you need your essential needs, the essential products that you have in your food repertoire? Why do you need them quickly? Well, think about it a different way. When do you go and do your big shop, Max? You probably do it on a Friday, on a Saturday, and you buy your products and they're going to last you the whole week. And your blueberries, they're going to go in the bin after 3 days because they're mushy. Why isn't it great to just have product when it's in its best state, that you have the taste and the freshness, you don't have the waste, so it's a more sustainable way to live, So it's not just about getting the products in 10 minutes. It's a bigger question about freshness, taste, not throwing 30% of your products away in the bin. And I could go on, but once you've tried it, you'll never go back.
Do you know, I just think you come up with the answer. We talk so much about food waste. 1.2 million bananas are thrown away every day. Why is that? Because we bought them a week ago and they've gone to mush at the end of the week. Whilst if we adopted yourself and your team at Gorillas, and we were working on this, said it in our green room, the JIT, just-in-time basis. So we want fresh fruit, we want fresh foods, and so if we adopted yourself, we've got that, and that's gonna completely minimise that food waste element.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got various different pillars of the customer proposition, but ultimately for me, it's you've got to start with taste, and that you have products that you don't just buy a commodity, you're buying something that tastes amazing. And I'm not really going to go into like the standard vegetables versus organic debate in this one, but when I speak about my kids at home, I just want them to have great tasting fruit and veg. They're eating more fruit and veg generally. If you then take it on, if you want to start thinking about organic, that's fine as well. But then you start thinking about waste and how much plastic. So one of the other interesting things that we can do, because we're not in a standard retail environment, I'm in an MFC here, micro fulfillment center, you can have less plastic. So, which is good for the environment as well. So imagine getting plums, which are put by our pickers into brown paper bags. That's almost going back 50 years, but it cuts down on plastic waste, and our plastic quota is very low as well. So I'm pretty proud of that fact as well. Imagine if you do your normal shop, how much plastic you accumulate in a week.
It's appalling.
It is.
It's just binfuls of it. And then there's oh God, as the Prime Minister said earlier this week, the bulk of it can't be recycled, and he actually got quite a lot of flack on the back of that. But there's a I forgot her name. We've had an amazing lady on from the Plastic Planet who is making commentary about what he stated, and she's absolutely right. There's only something like 8% of plastic can be recycled, and there's a lot of that plastic gets shipped overseas to make it another country's problem. So the easiest way to stop the plastic problem is to stop using plastic, to start using innovative means of delivery, so we don't need to use plastic. So it comes back to Gorillas again.
Yeah, exactly. And like I say, the more products that we can sell individually, the better. I'm just going to go and have a look at let's have a walk over here. So it's like this apple here, it's a great size. It's It smells great. It's that, I always say it to the buying team, you want that feeling when you're a little kid and your eyes open and you've had that taste sensation, like in the film Ratatouille, remember? Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
yeah, fantastic.
And it's freshness, picking the best quality, that people get passionate about their fruit and veg. And our participation in fruit and veg is great, but you've got to be mindful of sustainable packaging or no packaging. You know, and it all comes together as a great customer proposition.
So just go back to that point that we made earlier, that whatever it was, 7 years, 10 years ago, neither of us could have envisaged that there'd be a business model like Gorillas. I love the marketing term, why, care and share. So to me, the epitome of marketing success is if you've got parents in a playground and one of them unprompted says to another, oh, have you heard about this Gorillas scheme business? It can do this, and that intrigues that other parents, so they go and do it. I was with a client on Wednesday night in a pub, like a pub, having a real drink, Matthew, catching up, and on the way out I said, just out of curiosity to him, have you ever come across this business Gorillas? And he said, no, what's that? Sounds very intriguing. And I gave him the pitch, and within 30 seconds he was on the phone to his wife, asking her to download the Gorillas app because they're in central London, and he could just see how it could actually be such a seismic shift for them as a household because of the delivery aspect, and also because of the sustainability, the plastic outfit. So I suddenly found myself in this sort of care and share scenario where I'm advising, informing someone of this, and then the word spreads. And is that one of the reasons why Gorillas is so young? But is that one of the reasons why you've got such a fast uptake? Because it is such a disruptor in the market, in the respect of the ease of use and the sustainability element of it. Is that where the short-term success is coming from, and the long-term success, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. So the power of referrals very strong. You've got to have, and it's also certain things. So first of all, you want to have your products delivered quickly. Secondly, you've got to have a fabulous range. You've got to know your customer. And I think the other thing is also the way how we sell now. So if you think of the needs and wants of a customer, if you want your breakfast normally and you go to a regular retailer, you've got to go to like the jams aisle to get your jam, then you've got to go to the bakery aisle to pick your croissants up. Then, I might want some like fresh figs or some, I don't know, oranges or something. So I'll go to the fruit and veg aisle. Then I've got to go to the chiller to get my orange juice. Oh, curses, I've forgotten my ground coffee. I've got to go all the way and spend another 5 minutes to get that. Whereas, digitally, you group needs and wants of a customers under collections, or categories. So under breakfast, you can put them all in one place, which you wouldn't do in a normal stationary retail environment. Yeah. So for the customer, it's quick. So, if it's football's on tonight, bang, I'll go to alcohol, maybe get a few beers, or maybe we'll put a collection together because there's a match on, and then you can buy, I don't know, a pizza and some ice cream and some beers if that's your thing. Alternatively, if it's back to school, maybe we'll do some great fruit and veg, and all of the normal things that you get from you can push the agenda by putting them in collections or categories, but not in the normal way of thinking. So it's knowing your customer, having a great range, and then having the excellence to deliver it quickly.
Yeah, and what I'm loving is the fresh food element of it, in that if you think of a monosyllabic retailer with 32,000 different lines, we don't need 32,000 different lines, we just need fresh food. So if we could be persuaded to use your service, your colleagues, to have that fresh food ongoing, especially with young kids. So as you say, that ratatouille, so they get that amazing taste of fresh food. You've got them hooked. Ongoing on fresh food and fresh produce.
Fresh food is a really big thing for us. So we focus on that in a big way. And once again, less plastic as well. I think sometimes you've got to listen to your kids as well. So my children, they're really environmentally aware. They're aware. It really does get taught well in schools what they should be eating, how to be healthy, but they care about more and know more about the environment than we ever did at that age. Yeah. So I think it's a good time for fresh produce and fresh product generally.
Yeah, well done. So Gorillas, How was it formed? What's the backstory, please?
So March 2000, our CEO founded it in his front room in an apartment in Berlin. And then, had our first operating store in June, and then to where we are now in 9 countries, 180 warehouses across not only Europe, but we're in the States as well in that short period of time. We're a dark store operator. Yeah. So we've got within a very defined, concentration of population. We have a hub that we then ride and deliver people's groceries from. And yeah, it was born during lockdown, but lockdown's kind of gone in most countries, and we're booming. So, okay. It's that's the beauty of the story, that it's here to stay. As you go back, 20 years, nobody even heard of e-commerce. 10 years ago, e-commerce started, and little did we know that it was amazing to get a delivery of something in 2 days, and then 1 day. Wow, this is incredible. And then just a couple of years ago, you could get intraday from a couple of retailers, generally not food related. Now you can get it in 10 minutes, which is QCom, quick commerce. And it's one of those sign of the times, magical things that's happened. And once you've done it once, spend your time doing something else rather than going to the supermarket, writing a list. You forget stuff, whether it's a distressed purchase, whether it's your standard grocery, there's a want, there's a need, and we can deliver it. So that's a little bit about the story.
It's amazing. And there's so many aspects to go at on that. In the respect of retail, so we've already picked up that for every £1 billion that goes online rather than through bricks and mortar, there's a requirement for another 750,000 square footage of storage required in the UK. So where we are in sleepy Suffolk, Brace St Edmunds, what's an example? Skechers, the trainer manufacturer, as my kids say, it's the trainers that grannies buy, but they've just put down a new warehouse that's 1 million square foot for online, and that's just trainers. So you can see how this is all changing at speed, and also as you intimated that you were born through the pandemic, and some of the doom-mongers were saying that the likes of yourself would just fall by the way as we got back to normal. But no, go back to my example of the client in my pub car park. It's what he's been looking for, not realizing that he's needed it, but now he's going to adopt it because he's got better things to do rather than slavishly wandering around a supermarket for picking up a number an hour or so a day. So what about the UK? You've obviously got this big expansion happening in Europe. What are the plans, if it's okay to ask, for UK expansion?
Yeah, so the plan is to expand. Obviously, we're quite London-centric at the moment, but we're in 5 other cities. So we're in Cambridge. I'm here in Southampton. We're in Nottingham. We're in Manchester.
Wow!
It's the plans are to grow for sure. It's that's no secret.
Okay, and just on that side, will you look to collaborate? Will you look to partner with other businesses? Because we've seen some other not dissimilar businesses, delivery businesses, look to partner with other food brands. Is that something that Gorillas will look to do? Look to collaborate with them? I don't know, with a retailer or something like that?
You know the answer to that, Max. Yeah, so yesterday,
sing it, sell it.
Yesterday we launched our pilot with Tesco's, which is great news.
Wow.
UK's biggest retailer. So we've got a pilot running with them, where we've got like a co-located model, and we've started working out of Thornton Heath on the outskirts of London. So that's really exciting as well. So we've got our own locations, and then we're doing a trial with Tesco's. So
that's amazing. That's amazing.
I mean,
so I'm not trying to lead the witness, but do you think, give it 2-3 years in larger towns, that we could actually be on the app and request fresh food, and it will come to us via yourself and Tesco? That there's that potential, that partnership could get that strong that quickly.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, nothing's off the table. I mean, what I will say is, at the moment we're very based around where there's high intensities of population. Yeah, because
chimney pots. You need chimney pots.
Well, yeah, there's that. So I'm down here in Southampton. Who knows where we're going to go next? There's a plan, obviously, but ultimately you want to be able to hit people within that ride time. And is the model going to work out of, I don't know where I come from, Kings Lynn, or I don't know. But to start off with, there's a lot of tier 1 and tier 2 cities across the UK and beyond where we can definitely have a presence. That's for sure.
Yeah. Did you ever hear that story about Kings Lynn and the bananas post the Second World War? So there were no bananas coming into Kings Lynn, and then after the Second World War, the first bananas came in, and the kids were presented them having never eaten a banana before. And when they got the banana, what did they do? They peeled it and they threw away the flesh and they ate the skin because they'd never experienced a banana before. So product wise, I'm presuming you can't be like my big supermarket down the road with 32,000 different lines. What are you looking to stock within the likes of the mini fulfillment center? Are you, when I'm on the app, what's the range of things I can buy, please?
So, I mean, if you look at the standard range, we're between 1,800 and 2,000 SKUs. You can get all of the products that you need based on a Pareto of, you know, what are the volume lines, what do our customers want, and what are the needs. So a location that's got 25,000 SKUs, there's a need for that in the economy. You know, customers will always want to have supermarkets with large tails, large categories to shop from. We can't offer everything, but what we can offer for a distressed purchase, for the key needs of shoppers, we have everything. So we've got all of your standard categories: fruit and veg, chill, frozen, ambient, beers, wines and spirits. Every single category we've got covered.
Okay.
And also the other thing you've got to think of is distress needs as well. So we want to be there as well when people need something urgently. So if somebody's doing a meal and they've forgotten their bisto, yeah, or if somebody's scratch cooking something, they've forgotten an onion. It's for that. It's for different need states. But those categories we've got covered, and we think we've got pretty good range competence across the board.
And presumably you've been able to crunch the data. Average basket. What does an average basket look like?
You know, it's pretty decent. So what I can't do is give the figures out, but what I can say is we're not a convenience retailer, but we're not a standard grocer. We're kind of like a strange hybrid. Yeah. So the basket sizes are healthy. And to go back to fruit and veg, the participation of fruit and veg as a category is great. You know, it's really strong. So people buy into what we're, you know, that vision that we're trying to sell: freshness, products when you need them, and then they're in their best state. And the range size is, yeah, you can always add more to a range. The most tricky thing is to create a range with a small number of SKUs. Yeah. So, I mean, is it great to have 5,000? Yes, but then you've got less space. That's around about the optimal range size that we see. I can't see us going much above that one ever.
Got it. And I've just had a WhatsApp in from a fresh produce company. Is Gorillas looking to collaborate with fresh produce suppliers ongoing, or have you got your needs sorted?
We have got, you know, a great fruit and veg supplier, but it's always good to be speaking to other people, that's for sure as well. You know, whether it's a brand who would then supply through a wholesaler or whatever that model could look like. But yeah, pass the details on, Max. Thank you.
No worries, because if there's one thing that we've learned over the last 18 months, is collaboration. You look at the collaboration that you've just created with Tesco. Presumably if you need fresh food, especially fresh produce, and you've got, I'm just making it up, but you've got some great fresh produce companies down the south coast where you are down in Southampton. I'm sure there could be potential collaborations there to be had to get their fresh produce to you, to Southampton, and then to that market. So the fast delivery element is fascinating, and that's the one that really intrigued me when I started to investigate Gorillas. The thought about 10-minute delivery, that sounds like very onerous upon yourselves and your systems. Is it possible? Can you guarantee that 10-minute delivery slot?
Yeah, absolutely. So once you place the order via the app, then the clock starts ticking. So we've got a pick and pack operation. So a picker will go through the micro fulfillment center, collecting all the products that our customers ordered, and normally within 90 seconds, that's handed over to the rider, who will then, on an e-bike, go and deliver it. And that's within a defined radius. And that goes back to the point that we really look at the location at the middle of that that conurbation where we want to have our MFC. So it is doable. We do it. Our average completion time is under 10 minutes.
Wow. Okay. And your operating hours, don't tell me you're 24/7, but presumably your normal working hours, are you?
Yeah. So at the moment we're 8 in the morning through midnight.
Wow.
But those different needs and wants are different through the day. So if you want like fresh croissants in the morning, we can do it. Or if it's late at night and I don't know, it's movie night in, and we've got a movie night in collection on the app, then people might buy, I don't know, a few beers, a bottle of wine. They'll be buying other products in the basket as well, for sure. But it's it's also different in different locations. So if you're near a uni, maybe bottled water will be higher. If it's all of those kind of things. But to go back a point as well, when you were talking about that local supply, fruit and veg supplier, local is very important for us. So we do collaborate very much so with local businesses. So in London, we've got a great partnership with like London Fields Brewery. We sell meat with HG Volta, which is London's finest butcher. Down here in Southampton, we've got local beers that we sell. We have local bakery. Those local, it's a local business on your phone. So it's not a platform, but it's very different to that. So we do partner it's one of our USPs that we do partner with local businesses.
I love that local business element. So what your local area is wanting in the way of fresh food. I've just got to recall this story. So High Street Kensington, one of the biggest things that they have delivered on a home delivery basis is avocados. I've got a friend who's a hand surgeon, and he's worked all across the country, and he says that the biggest hand injuries he's seen throughout the country in High Street Kensington is oysters. People do that with oysters. In the home counties, biggest hand injury is avocados. And then up north in Newcastle, the biggest hand injury is frozen burgers. People do that with frozen burgers. So again, it's knowing your demographics and knowing who your consumer is, what the consumer wants. So rapid delivery, going back to our point again, that 10 years ago, we didn't know you were going to be standing here in this amazing business. So do you think rapid delivery is the future, and the likes of our kids are just going to be so used to dialing in to this ongoing? Is rapid delivery the future?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. So, you're always going to have different businesses with different core expertise. This is our expertise. So it's great quality products delivered in a very short lead time, and it's knowing what the customer wants. So that's our USP. Is local. It's very fast delivery. It's freshness when you need it. Partnering with local businesses. But most of all, knowing our customer, being customer centric, and it's let's be clear as well. The reason we're here as well, we've got some great suppliers here in the UK. We also have got data. So if you go back 20 years ago as well, a buyer wouldn't have the data that they have now. So that we know the trends. We spend time with local suppliers. We look at new trends. And the other thing is, things that trend on things like TikTok or Instagram, all of this stuff that I'm only starting to use now. It's that's where food trends start, So it's not just having a great buyer, it's having a great buyer that knows their category, that is using market data and shopper data to pull the products together. It's having, a great team that know how to merchandise. So old school merchandising would be in a fixture, and it's like which jam goes next to which other jam. Now merchandising is more about, what's the mission or the occasion for the shop, for the customer. So is it breakfast, is it evening meal, is it a big game, is it a movie night in, is it vegan, vegetarian? It's just a totally different way to look at things.
It is, isn't it? I'm sure they won't mind me saying it, that we're potentially doing a broadcast for British Leaks, because they're going to be starting a big promotional campaign. And as they've ascertained, people are influenced to buy leeks by Instagram, because the bulk of people now are looking for recipe ideas on Instagram. So British Leaks have employed the services of a great chef who I think's recently been announced. But you can see how gorillas will fit into that. So if there's a family and they go into Instagram to look at a recipe for British Leaks, or they stumble across it, and they think, well, this looks really good. Right, how do we do this? Right, onto gorillas, get the leeks, get the parmesan, get the steak or the additional veg. So you can see, Matthew, how that all links up in this sort of new world that's been created by the likes of Instagram and yourself, and how that's going to just accelerate the likes of scratch cooking, that as you know, that over the pandemic raised by 30%. So it's almost like you're just coming into your zeitgeist, that people are going to be looking to experiment, enjoy more and more fresh food, and get away from the banality of everything wrapped in plastic, and they're going to be coming to you ongoing. Do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. It's well, I don't think so. I know so. You know,
Okay.
I see the figures coming every day. We see our basket size is growing. We're listing more and more great products. It's once you like I've said, once you've tried it once, it's hard to go back to the way that you used to shop.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to just shop a recipe, you know,
Yeah.
and having it delivered pretty quickly. You know, so where we are now, we're only still in the UK. We launched, you know, beginning of March, and we've now got, you know, over 30 locations.
Wow.
That's pretty young. So God
It
only
is.
knows where we're going to be in a couple of years.
Okay, and then if it's okay to us, just how does the business model, because I'm sure lots of people are thinking this, how does the business model work logistically and financially? Because all of our suppliers are used to getting large trucks into large retailer RDCs, regional distribution centers. With yourself, you could say that you're looking to really overcomplicate it. You've got too many customers to serve. You've got all the complications of employing lots of people on. But how does the business work logistically and financially, please?
So ultimately, you need scale, you need volume, and you need very, very lean operations. So there are certain things which are standard within retail, delivery, whichever part of those business models you look at. Lean operations are king. You know, it's about touching products as few times as possible. It's about having the layout of your warehouse, MFC, as, you know, productive as possible. It's all of those things that many businesses do well, and it's taking those key elements and just making sure that they happen. You know, productivity, correct range, margin, and volume of customers as well.
Yeah. Do you think yourself and your colleagues at Gorillas have created a food revolution?
I think so.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because if you think about it, if you keep doing the same, you know, if you order bananas when you want them, they're not going to go in the bin. You know, if you order your blueberries when you need them, you're going to eat them fresh, and there's going to be less waste. And then it's the same. If you go and buy your sourdough bread on a Saturday, but you don't eat it until Sunday morning, it's going to be that little bit tougher. So why don't you just buy products when you need them, waste less, eat a great tasting fresh food, you know, whether it's national brands or whether it's from local producers. It's kind of like stepping back in time a little bit to the 50s, but part of the digital revolution as well.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's just like a market town would have had its then equivalent of delivery boys and girls delivering their meat and their bread to their customers, and it was the freshest food that you can have. And it seems almost as if you've turned back time. So you can envisage that people will buy the toilet paper and the bog roll and the pasta, and they'll have that all shipped away. But then ongoing fresh food, because we want fresh food, and you can provide it in a economic, sustainable way. That this food revolution that yourself and Gorillas are creating, that would just it's just gonna keep growing.
Yeah, it's going to keep growing. And the other thing is, let's not forget about the customer experience as well. We employ all of our riders, so they're not part of the gig economy. So they turn up on e-bikes. They're employed by us, so you get that little bit extra customer experience because they believe in what we do as well. You know, the jungles, that's what we call our warehouses. They're great places to be, and it's only going to get bigger, that's for sure. And you know, it's not just fresh food. We do all of your commodity products as well. you can do a full shop with us if you need. And just remember, we're not that young, so we've still got lots to learn. We'll optimize our range. We'll find out what works, and as we get bigger, we can offer more cool and innovative products as well.
Yeah, and that's a great point. If it's okay, just to come back on it, it's about the fact you employ your teams. If you look at large taxi apps who have 0-hour contracts, contract folk out, and all the issues that have been created around there. There's a stat that a 16-year-old today, by the time they retire, potentially would have upwards of 60 different jobs in the gig economy. And some people think that's good, but actually I don't think that's good. You want to be... You need that security of working for a business to know that when you finish work on a Friday or Saturday, that you're going to have work on a Monday and not be in a 0-hour contract. So I think you've definitely got to be applauded for following that model of employing people rather than having people on 0-hour contracts, because it's as he sort of intimated, that you're only going to be successful in the business by the people that you employ, because they're going to be the people that are knocking on the door of the consumer with a parmesan or the fresh apples.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's really important from a customer experience perspective, but also how we treat people is important as well. Staff fluctuation is important. You don't want to be losing great employees. The reason we're here is it's great teamwork, a great team around us, and also great suppliers as well. It's not one person, it's not a few people, it's everything coming together.
Yeah, Matthew, well done. And just before we wrap up, just got a question in, as this chappie just said, that Matthew's got a prestigious background in retail. 10 years ago, he couldn't envisage that he would be working in a business like Gorillas, or that a business like Gorillas would exist. What does he see in his retail crystal ball in 5 years, 10 years time? What is retail going to look like in 5 years, 10 years time? Oh, go on. What do you think?
Oh gosh, probably some consolidation going on. Drone deliveries, that's quite exciting, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's happening a bit in Ireland already. I think there's going to be a fresh revolution, and I think we're going to see the importance of packaging, being really important. So, when I actually come back your way on my motorbike, Max, you've got like those big packaging companies around Soham. Oh yeah, massive. And I think all of these companies have got an opportunity to change the world right now, because, do we move away from plastic? Do we start using starch-based packaging, or do we just not use packaging and things go back to being you buy products not in 5-packs but by the unit? So I think we'll have a bit of a move back to local, to the high streets, and I think that's where it's going to be pretty important for us as well to partner with local businesses. I think the revolution will be in freshness, sustainability, and waste.
Wow, fantastic. Matthew, is it possible for you to take us back to your fresh produce that you showed us earlier?
Yeah, let's go for a walk. Because
that'd be great to just finish up and show off the fresh produce that you can buy from Gorillas to your home.
So I mean that's a beautiful apple. You can actually smell the apple, which is pretty good. You can't always do that.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at some of these individual sweet potatoes. It's interesting how trends change, because I never knew what a sweet potato was 15 years ago. We've got amazing plums here, individual, so they'll get bagged off into like brown paper batches depending on how many people buy. Fabulous loose. They smell amazing. Tomatoes. I need to go and find some mozzarella later to go with that. What else have we got over here? We've got loose carrots, ginger.
You're just showing off the jungle now.
Yeah, individual like kiwis. I mean, it's a fabulous range. We're really proud of that one.
Excellent. There's a lovely chap, Richard Diplock, who a lot of people know, who's him and his team run the Sussex greenhouses down there. And he says that with the tomatoes that they grow, if you can get kids to eat fresh tomatoes, you will have them hooked forever. And so it comes back to your freshness element again. So using gorillas, using yourself and your colleagues to enjoy fresh food. You can see this food revolution, this fresh food revolution that you're creating. That Matthew, we haven't really majored on it at all, but it's going to help the health of the nation because we're going to want to eat fresh food rather than high sugar, high fat food. So I don't think
exactly.
All credit to you.
Food with taste, that's what it's all about. And when it's in its best condition, so when it's fresh, so the ability, that stock's been delivered this morning. If you place an order now, you're going to get that in 10 minutes. So that's really cool.
Excellent. So Matthew, just to wrap up, I have to ask you, what is your favorite fresh produce?
I'll give you two. Medjool dates, because it stops me eating chocolate. Yeah. And tomatoes for sure. If you get those when they're in their best state and they're fresh, it's like I said, it's the ratatouille effect, isn't it? When it's that and if you can get your kids to do that, then that's a great thing.
Excellent. And I go back to my point earlier in the day, why care and share? This is, I think, going to be the magic dust for gorillas, having the likes of Matthew on, just giving us a bit of a background as to how the business works and this food revolution that they've created. Let's all watch gorillas, and perhaps we can partner with Matthew and his team as they expand throughout the UK and globally. Matthew, you've been fantastic. Really look forward to catching up with you, especially on the motorbikes, and when we hopefully go through Switzerland together. We'll see you very shortly, and thank you again.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Matthew. Thank you. Bye-bye.